did in a study group called Sabbath Economics Household Practices by Matt Caldwell. It was an excellent study group that helped us to consider where our earnings come from, where our savings are. We found out that our savings with Wachovia was with one of the largest promoters of predatory lending in the country, and we didn't know that. So we moved them to a local community credit union that, that helps small ventures get started and gives loans to people who might not give them otherwise. Thank you. And one of the most important things that we talked about was charitable giving, and I wanted to share with you the charitable giving that Hannah and I do that we really love. She came up with this brilliant idea right after our daughter was born to have an ongoing Thursday night supper at our home called Simple Supper. And we invite anyone who wants to come. If you're ever in Durham, come over on Thursday night to our house at 5:30, and we will feed you beans and rice. We chose beans and rice because we could continue to feed an unlimited number of people beans and rice every Thursday night, and we couldn't do that with any other food, and because most people in the world exist on beans and rice. And we wanted to take one meal out of our week and have it be simple. And so between, I'd say, 7 and 15 or 20 people show up every week, and we feed them, and we ask them to donate us the amount of money that they would have spent on dinner that night. And we give that money to Heifer International in our local shelter. And we have raised, I haven't kept track of it, which is irresponsible of me, but I would guess over $1,500, close to $2,000 in the last 4 years. And the big key is, it's really fun, and it has built this beautiful community that we're all raising our children in, and it's a community around giving. So my hope for Olney is that we'll continue to be a bridge, as it has been in my family's life, from its core Quaker values and its Quaker history and its values of an excellent education steeped in these values to the future. And you never know where these seeds that you're planting are going to land, and I think I just want Olney to continue to be that bridge with that strong side here, right, rooted in Quaker values, and it crossing over into all the students' futures.
Thank you very much. Okay, our fifth panelist will now be, it's a written contribution from Larry Sidwell, class of 71. Are you hearing me in the back? Yes? Barely. Talk louder. Our last panelist is homesick with a virus, Larry Sidwell, class of 71, and so I will read his written remarks and probably not answer questions on his behalf, as I've left my ability to channel his opinions, but I do have his initial remarks. The power of identity. When I was a student, it was at the height of the Vietnam War. Obviously, this is Larry Sidwell and not me. As you might expect, our community was active in opposing this war. There was an anti-war conference one weekend, and we had a volunteer sign up to participate in this conference. Of course, everyone was signing up. We were at Olney in the late 1960s. This was just the thing to do. I come from a good Quaker family. How could I not go? Of course, we had an option. You did not have to go. You could go with all your friends or stay by yourself on campus. This was a big deal for me to not comply. I did not go with 3 others out of 100. We had a violent versus nonviolent weekend. Why? I believe in nonviolence. I hated the war and later became a conscientious objector and did my service at Friends Hospital in Philadelphia. But as much as I supported the cause, I had a bigger issue about not wanting to follow the crowd. I was rebelling against blindly following everyone else. I wanted to create my own independent identity. That statement I made was important to no one but myself. Personally, I felt empowered and determined that I would set my own course to achieve my objectives. The school's reaction? No one cared. No one treated me different, but there was no pressure from the staff, nothing but support from staff and community. The beauty of my experience at Olney was that this one example was replicated time and again. A focus on introspection, strong, loving community, diversity of cultures and thought. These characteristics are foundational to creating a strong sense of self and personal identity. I came to the school very unsure of who I was. a clean sheet of paper. I left with a strong sense of myself, who I was, a strong sense of identity, and a strong sense of community. That weekend, where I had the opportunity to express my own free will with time for reflection on some deep issues, and in such a safe and supportive environment, was a bit of an epiphany for me. I learned not compliance but innovation, freedom to think and act guided by my inner light. I am sure I did not realize it at the time, but years later, I came to realize how important that weekend was, as was my entire 4-year experience at Olney in shaping my sense of self. Fast forward to today. The values I learned at Olney are relevant in the real world and in business. My personal values are aligned with the values of the company I work for. The businesses I manage are successful because of living those values I learned here every day, and because I look for those values in the people I hire, because they make the best employees. I focus on hiring people with strong personal identities, and I also create ways for them to identify with a higher aspiration. For instance, at Deere, our aspiration is to promote human flourishing. That goal resonates with me and fits who I am as a person. People achieve the most not only when they have a strong sense of identity, but also when they identify with their job. They are motivated to achieve, not because of consequences, missed targets, low pay, but because they believe in their work. There is a great article in the Harvard Business Review titled Title V Leadership, The Triumph of Humility and Fierce Resolve. In this article, researchers identify the characteristics needed to achieve sustained greatness, and those characteristics were humility, self-reflection, sense of community, a strong sense of self. They use the term inner seed, where we might use the term inner light. Do any of these characteristics sound familiar to any of you? These are exactly the things I learned while I was here at Olney. They shaped who I am today and have served me well over the years. I would also tell you that if our company, which is recognized as one of the best companies in the world in terms of leadership and great companies to work for, were to define the educational environment best suited to develop great people and great leaders, Olney would be a role model and template. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Larry. Yes? Thank you, Larry, and we hope you feel better soon. All right. So now we will take some questions, and I will read the questions, and you can pass the microphone back and forth. The first question, does this work from the side? The first question is for Cedrick, who I can see if I move the curtain. Maybe, wait, I know. Innovation. Cedrick, can you talk about nonprofit venture capital?
I think the essential thing about nonprofit venture capital is to have the drive to do something that won't benefit yourself. You know, it's easier said than done, because when you do something that's nonprofit, you're really setting your mind to something that's going to benefit somebody else completely, and it's not. There are going to be benefits to yourself, but there's no profit. And in the business world, when you're looking to start a venture, the main thing that you're looking for is profit. You wanna make back more than you spend on what you're doing. So on non-profit venture capital, when you devote yourself, your time, your money, your expertise, your basically everything, it really takes a lot of just that. It takes a lot of devotion. And for an organization like Olney, being a school and a business, because Olney is both a school and a business, it is something tricky, but it can be done. It's not something that should be taboo, whether you're Quaker or not. For Olney to address this, it'll be beneficial in every type of way.
We have another question for Cedrick. Although I think of us could answer it. When I came to Olney, they told us it would help us learn to get along with people. Is this true today?
Absolutely, more than anything, because for those people who knew me before, I mean, my brother obviously and Denise, I wasn't the most socially aware person. We could say that. I was. I wasn't awful. I wasn't awful, but I was really about myself. You know, I did what I had to do. I went to school. I played basketball. I played for multiple teams. I did what I had to do to get where I'm going, which didn't leave a lot of space for being the person that I am now. You know, and when I came here, it was unbelievable the change that happened throughout the 9 months I spent in Olney. The people who come through here, when you just start out, you don't realize how much you're going to change, but you do. It's unmistakable, it's undeniable, and it's inevitable because you will change for the better. Once you're out of here, you're a better person. You're more socially aware. You're more aware of the kind of person you could be and the kind of person you will be once you leave.
Would any of the rest of you like to speak to that? Did Cedrick say it well? All right, thank you. This is addressed to any of you on the panel. How would you recommend Olney Friends School motivate alumni to get more involved in the financial future of the school? And how could Olney Friends School recruit more students?
I guess, like I said, a lot of time that I know that our principal of the school Rich travels to China or Vietnam to recruit new international students, only host English competitions in different regions in China that might get students are more interested in learning English as well as meeting new people here as well as learning the new cultures. It's a lot of time it's network where you have to go out to meet people to talk about what you really do to make people understand what they're looking for is what you have. Just like a business only makes money is a poor business. You have to network. For as long as for recruiting new international students, I think it will be better for us to have more of the language courses here, of course, first. And I know that we do have exchange programs to Mexico sometimes for over the past years. If we can do more like Europe or Asia or anywhere in other countries, it would be good.
Was one of your questions how alumni can get more financially invested into Olney? Involved?
Yeah, involved, which to me implies not direct financial investment, but also other different ways. Holding fundraiser, bean and rice parties.
Great. I think in a time where the economy isn't very good, it's difficult to get people to separate from their money, especially. And I just think the best thing Olney can do is try and instill a mentality in its alumni that, yes, if Olney goes alone in this venture, they can raise the money, they can raise the capital, and if they go alone, they will go faster, essentially. But then if they're also helped out by the alumni, they will go faster and they will go further. And if the alumni is also helping Olney, they'll be able to sustain the monetary needs they need for longer. Because essentially, if the school gave so much to you, you should be also willing to give a little bit to the school.
I don't know how practical it is, but our simple supper model of coming together in community to celebrate and eat in a just automatic way with money kind of happening as an expectation as you feel like, oh yeah, I have $5 in my pocket this week.